Hello, good day again, kids, and welcome to another lesson in English 6 Quarter 3. We will talk about today all about the elements of narrative, which will be going to focus on plot, conflict, resolution, and theme. I am your teacher for today, Teacher Jeff, and let's get started. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the elements of narrative in a literary text, including plot, conflict resolution, and theme. Letter B, you will be able to analyze the elements of narrative in a literary text, including plot, conflict resolution, and theme. Let me ask you some question. Have you read stories or watched movies that you really enjoyed? What made it enjoyable? Can you share it? Did you learn something from the stories that you read or movies you watched? What was the lesson of the stories that you read or movies that you watched? Can you share it? Have you ever thought about what makes the narrative or stories more interesting and engaging? Great. Narrative or stories have certain elements that makes them interesting and engaging, like plot, conflict resolution, and theme. Here are the elements of narrative. So we have the plot, the conflict, resolution, and theme. Let us discuss this one by one. Let's start with plot. Plot is the series of events that happen in a story. It's like the storyline of the story. The plot is made up of different parts, like the beginning, middle, and end. The beginning sets the stage for the story. The middle is where the action happens, and the end is where everything is wrapped up. Next is the conflict. Conflict is a struggle between two or more opposing forces that creates tension and drives the plot forward. It's what makes the story interesting and exciting to read, as the characters try to overcome obstacles and reach their goals. Next is resolution. The resolution is the part of the story where the main character solves the problem or conflict that they were facing. This is where the loose ends of the story are tied up and the reader learns what happens to the characters after the story ends. And lastly, the theme. Theme is the big idea or message that the author wants to convey through story. It's like the lesson or moral of the story. A theme can be expressed through the actions and choices of the character, the conflicts they face, or the way the story is structured. Some examples of themes are love, friendship, courage, and honesty. So this time, I will give you an example of a story or a narrative. The title is The Lion and the Mouse. I'll discuss later all about the elements of the narrative by this example. Once upon a time, in a dense jungle, a mighty lion lived. He was fierce and strong, and all the animals in the forest were afraid of him. One day, while the lion was taking a nap, a tiny mouse ran over his paw, waking him up. The lion was furious and caught the mouse in his paw, ready to eat him. The mouse, trembling with fear, pleaded with the lion to spare his life. Please don't eat me, he cried. I promise I will repay you some day if you let me go. The lion was amused by the mouse's plea and decided to let him go, thinking that such a tiny creature could never do him a favor. But as a fate would have it, a few days later, the lion got trapped in the hunter's net. He roared and struggled, but the net was too strong for him to break free. The mouse heard the lion's cry for help and rushed to the spot. He saw the lion trapped and realized that it was his chance to repay the favor. He started gnawing the ropes of the net and with his sharp teeth, bit by bit, eventually he managed to chew through the ropes and set the lion free. The lion was surprised and grateful to the mouse. He realized that even the smallest creature can have a big heart and make a difference. Thank you, little mouse, he said. You have proven that a friend in need is a friend indeed. From that day on, the lion and the mouse became good friends, and the lion learned a valuable lesson about the power of kindness and humility. The end. This time, let us discuss the plot of the given example, The Lion and the Mouse. As we read earlier, we already know the events happen in the story. So let's talk about the plot of the story, The Lion and the Mouse. The plot says a lion catches a mouse and is about to eat it, but the mouse begs for mercy and promises to help the lion in the future. Next event is the lion amused by the idea, so lets the mouse go. Next is later, the lion is caught in a hunter's trap and can't get out. The mouse comes along and nibbles on the ropes of the trap until the lion is free. So this is a sample of the plot. The plot is the series of events happened in the story. Next example, let's proceed to the conflict. So here is the conflict of the given example, the lion and the mouse. So the conflict tells the lion is powerful and prideful, and he captures the mouse with his paw, intending to eat him. The mouse pleads with the lion to spare his life, promising to repay him someday. So in this example, you can see that it is where the problem is being arised in the story. The next element is the resolution. This is how the characters resolve the problem. So in the lion and the mouse story, the resolution is the lion realizes that even small creatures can be helpful and spares the mouse's life. Kept its promise and two become friends, and the lion learns to appreciate the value of friendship, regardless of size or strength. So that's how the problem was being resolved in this story or narrative. And let's proceed to the theme. The theme tells the moral or the lesson of the story, or what is the main idea of the story. So the theme of the story, The Lion and the Mouse, is that even the smallest and seemingly insignificant beings can have a great impact on the lives of others. It teaches us to be kind and respectful to everyone, regardless of their size or status. Additionally, it emphasizes the importance of keeping promises and being grateful for the help of others, as it can lead to unexpected rewards. And that's the theme of the narrative, The Lion and the Mouse. Time we will have an activity. So the direction of the activity will be like this. Read the narrative, The Tortoise and the Hare, and identify what element of the narrative is shown in the given statement. Write, plot, conflict, resolution, or theme on the space provided. So I will be the one to read you the narrative about the tortoise and the hare, and later you will going to answer of what element of the narrative is being shown. So you will going to label it by plot, conflict, resolution, or theme. Once upon a time, in a forest, a hare boasted about how fast he could run. I am the fastest animal in the forest, he declared. A tortoise overheard him and challenged him to a race. The hare laughed at the idea of racing a slow and clumsy creature like a tortoise, but he agreed to the challenge anyway. The race started and the hare took off quickly, leaving the tortoise far behind. He ran so fast that he soon became tired and decided to take a nap under a tree. There's no way the tortoise can catch up to me, he thought confidently. Meanwhile, the tortoise continued to plod along slowly and steadily. He didn't stop or rest but kept going until he reached the finish line. When the hare woke up, he saw the tortoise crossing the finish line and realized that he had lost the race. The tortoise smiled and said, "Slow and steady wins the race." The hare hung his head in shame and learned a valuable lesson about not underestimating others and being overconfident. And now it's your time to answer. And here are the statements that you will going to identify. Number one, the problem is between the hare's overconfidence and the tortoise's determination. The hare believes that he is the fastest animal in the forest and underestimates the tortoise's ability to win the race. Second statement. This story shows that slow and steady wins the race. It teaches us the importance of perseverance, determination, and hard work in achieving our goals. Third statement. The tortoise wins the race, and the hare learns a valuable lesson about not underestimating others and being overconfident. Fourth statement. A hare brags about how fast he can run and challenges a tortoise to a race. The tortoise accepts the challenge, and they start the race. The hare quickly jumps ahead of the tortoise and takes a nap. When he wakes up, he realizes that the tortoise has already crossed the finish line. And you have time to answer this. You're just going to write the word or the elements of the narrative, plot, conflict, resolution, or theme. Time starts now. Time's up. So let us check your work. And here are the answer. For number one, the element shown in the statement is conflict. For number two, it is the theme. For number three, it is the resolution. And for number four, that is the plot. Did you get it right? Very good. And for your activity two, so you will going to read the narrative, The Ugly Duckling, and complete the graphic organizer by giving the plot, conflict resolution, and theme of the narrative. So this time, you will now going to give the four elements of the narrative or the story. So the plot, the conflict and resolution and theme. So you will just going to read first the narrative here entitled The Ugly Duckling. So let me read it to you. The Ugly Duckling. Once upon a time, on a farm, a mother duck gave birth to a brood of ducklings. One of them was different from the others. He was bigger, clumsier, and had a different color than the rest. The other animals on the farm teased and bullied him because of his appearance. They called him ugly and wouldn't play with him. The duckling became sad and lonely and decided to run away from home. He spent the winter alone in the cold, hoping that someone would accept him for who he was. Eventually, the winter passed and spring came. The duckling grew into a beautiful swan and returned to the farm. The other animals were amazed by his transformation and accepted him as one of their own. They realized that appearances can be deceiving and that beauty is not just skin deep. The duckling also learned the importance of self-acceptance and self-love, even in the face of adversity. So it's your time to give the plot, conflict resolution, and theme of the narrative. Okay, time's up, and here are the answers. For the plot, The Ugly Duckling is a story about a duckling who is rejected by his family and peers because of his appearance. He is constantly ridiculed and bullied until he grows up and discovers that he is actually a beautiful swan. For the conflict in the story is the struggle of the duckling to find acceptance and belonging in a world that judges him because or based on his appearance. He feels isolated and unworthy because he looks different from his siblings and is constantly teased and rejected. For the resolution of the story comes when the duckling grows into a beautiful swan and realizes that he was never really an ugly duckling, but a swan all along. He finally finds acceptance and belonging among his fellow swans and he is celebrated for his unique beauty. The theme of The Ugly Duckling is the importance of inner beauty and self acceptance. The story teaches us not to judge others based on their appearance, and that we should love and accept ourselves for who we are, regardless of what others say. It also shows that beauty can be found in unexpected places and that everyone has something special to offer. That ends our discussion for today. I hope that you learned something for today's lesson with regards to the elements of the narrative, which is all about or focuses on plot, conflict resolution, and theme. Till next time, kids. Bye bye.